Here we are playing Space Empires. This is the probably the very closing era period in the game. Red has come back from what looked like a hopeless position in terms of just really the board presence by the random selection method that I chose to use in the game. And they've just taken out the last of Blue's colonies. Now all that's left is the Blue homeworld. There was a base at that colony. It felt like cheese, really. I mean, it just was really, really easy to take down. It got one hit in on a heavy cruiser, I think. No, it may not have even hit. But the fighters just killed it on their own. And that's only 6 fighters. Blue's pretty much crapping themselves at this point. And then over here, this miner grabs another mineral. Red doesn't think that it's going to be a long game, so they're going to pick that mineral up. They may end up, well, no reason to. I was going to say they may end up doing a search, but they might as well take the easy route in. Still got Blue's turn. They're not going to do anything. They're just hoping for the attack to come. And, well, Red might as well launch that attack. And I don't know how much sense it makes to go into detail on the fighting on this one. It's going to be a big fight. You've seen the mechanics of fighting, so I think I'm going to just handle this one on my own. It'll be quicker that way, and I'll come back with the results. I'm expecting Red's going to win this pretty easily. But I'll move the miner, and I'll move the last Red battleship in, along with these. They had such an easy time, they think they can finish this off. Since it's such a climactic battle, I decided I'd engage in it a little bit. The A-class ships on the red side targeted the battle cruisers, which are B-class, so they don't get to fire first. So the A-class was able to kill off one battle cruiser and do damage to another, taking some firepower away in that first round. The scouts with their point defense had to fire on the fighters to get that bonus, so they did, and they killed one. And then the base turned and shot a heavy cruiser out of the way. Again, aiming for the stuff that's going to fire later in the round so that they can reduce the enemy's chances to shoot. Well, we're going down to the B class, which is the battle cruisers, and there's 4 of them. 2 are going to go we'll just shoot at the bigger stuff. We're going to shoot at the battleships. And we get 4 dice at 3s. May not be the best move. Well, no, killing that cruiser would be useful, I think. Okay, I'll roll 2 dice on the cruiser. And that only needs 4s. I did not get any, and 2 dice over on the battleship, which needs 3s, didn't get any. Now we go over, and we're going to be handling the cruiser combat, which will probably target other things, and also these docks are going to come in. Right now it looks like it's up in the air, so Red may not win this. Alright, let's see. Well, the heavier ships have fired, and we see one fighter. We see a couple of fighters have died, but also a couple of battle cruisers have died. Now they're about equivalent to fighters, except bigger defense value. The point defense has been shooting them out. The carrier actually took a pick off at one of these scouts. Just try to get rid of them. They're harassing, and somebody should shoot them. I think the cruiser's going to shoot at them too. We see one of the battleships has severe damage on it. I'd have to withdraw the entire group, both battleships, in order to retreat. I can't just retreat the damaged one, which would be different if I had them in separate groups, but you have a limit to the number of groups you have on the board, so there's kind of an incentive not to put all your pieces in one place like that. You know what I forgot to do, although this is probably the game. Yeah, no, that went there, that one goes there. Okay, so let's see how this turns out. Well, by the end of the round, Red managed to take out, actually using the carriers, those 2 scouts. So they're out of the way now. Their other ships, though, have not been terribly effective. And what we're seeing here is a real weakening of Red's power base. They lost a battleship. They've got this cruiser that's damaged. They don't have much left. Not enough to cut through those bases, I think. Question here, though, is if I target the shipyards, I can cut back Blue's ability to produce. So that's what I'm kind of thinking of right now. I may withdraw some things, but I do want to do some real damage as opposed to what I've done, which is mainly just cutting away the battle cruisers, which can be replaced fairly easily with the shipyard level where it is. So that's what I'm going to target, even if it costs me a major ship. As to the blue player, well, they want to kill the big ships, and they want to see, will I have enough left? Right now, it doesn't look like that's possible. They've got 2 battle cruisers and a heavy cruiser. They don't have enough left right now to challenge 2 bases, which is kind of a shame, but I don't know what else to say. So Blue managed to hold out, and they still have their 2 bases. They still have 2 battle cruisers left, and they have a heavy cruiser left. That's it, but they have no shipyards, so they can't actually construct any ships this next turn. On the other hand, Red pulled out. They lost all their fighters. They want to build a lot of fighters next turn. And they also are down to 1 battleship. Building all those fighters back would make up for a lot of what was lost here. Whew. This is over here. Got knocked or something. Huh. Looks to me like I forgot to bring a battleship into the line there. Oops. Well, that probably was a heavy factor in why they lost. But we'll live with that for now. Because it really does look like after the next production round, with no ships built, that things are not going to go too well for Blue. Red should be able to win them in this after the next economic phase. Likewise, Red is going to take one last turn. Blue has no ships left, basically. So Red can land this mineral here. And they're just going to hold off. They've destroyed all of Blue's empire except the capital. And now it's just really a matter of wearing it down. Blue wants to concede, but it's close enough, we'll finish it out. And we go into the economic phase. Nobody bid. Red's going to keep going first. Colony increases. All Red built was 4 fighters. That's $20. They have more cash than that. They don't have more shipyards than that. They could build back here or something. But instead they invested in defensive technology. They figure if this is going to last a long time, they want to have growth, as it were. Blue had to build the shipyard. Other money, they threw some into hull size, but got a bad roll off their first one, so they chose to bank the rest of the money. And right away, Red's going in, and we're going to see a replay of what was going on last time, although with slightly less forces. Those fighters are exceedingly valuable, though. At handling this kind of situation. And here's what we got lined up. Blue's big base, and their 1 shipyard, which is probably going to be a target fairly early if things start looking at all questionable for Red. Red's got a 2nd battleship in place now, the one they forgot to bring, which will also help them. Alright, yeah, I'll start rolling some dice and seeing what happens. After this round, things look much worse for Blue. They're down to a damaged battle cruiser. A base got shot out. 4 dice against it, 3 of them were hits. Pretty impressive, actually. Red is down to just a battleship and their fighters, and the carrier, for whatever that's worth. They can barely hit things. But it looks like there's a good chance that Red's going to be able to take out everything the Blue has and then start demolishing the planet. At that point, it's over. I mean, Blue has nothing left. They have nothing, nowhere they can build. They have just nothing. So we'll call it if they take the planet. But continuing onward, all these are going to be going first fire. The base is going to start picking off fighters to try to keep its survival up. And these guys, well, I'm going to launch one shot at the battlecruiser and the rest of the base, try to take the base down. And now it's down to the base alone, which is clearly the strongest thing in the game, but it can't face this. I'll roll it out, come back when it's dead. And that's the end, the base is done. Now they start being able to shoot at the planet, this pipeline is gone, but it really doesn't matter. There's no chance of anything being built. Shooting at the planet, 2 rolls at 6, that's 2 hits, and then 2 rolls at 4. Okay, so it would be down to a 10, which I would fish out if need be, like that. With $10, they couldn't even build anything if Red were to disengage. But as it stands, it was clearly over a couple of turns ago. Once the Doomsday Machine ploy didn't work, and it was pretty clear what was going to happen. We did see something interesting, though, which was, sure, yeah, the first guy out with the Doomsday Machine's green, that was just pure random. I mean, that's the scenario that I was playing. You normally wouldn't face that. And it kind of made me happy to get rid of a player that early. It always makes me happy to get rid of someone. That doesn't have to be the case, though, because the game is configurable. And obviously, the game could also be played until you take one person out, which is the basic game rules. So you wouldn't have to have people sitting out all the time. Then Yellow's destruction was their own fault, and I kind of feel badly about that. They were in the bonus position. They were the guy who wasn't next to somebody else at that point. But then they stumbled into the Doomsday range by their own mistake and launched it on themselves, and were not able to face it. Those things are just too potent at an early game. What we saw at later game was they were still scary. I mean, if both of them had come in here, it would have been a bit of a battle and would have given Blue a shot. On the other hand, I think Blue would have been better off trying to bring them over here, and that's what they wanted to do. But this black hole and the positional, they just didn't want to drag it out too long. And it would have been a very long game had the Doomsday Machine started ravaging down here, and then maybe Blue tries to drag them over here. So I'm glad it went the way it did, even if it wasn't my intention at the time. We did see, though, Red in what looked like a hopeless position, using really superior onboard strategy in terms of the raiders, etc. Not the actual raider ships, but doing raids against the colonies. Being able to defeat a more powerful enemy who had what looked like all the advantages. And there was some thought maybe Blue could come back to that, but Red didn't make the same kind of mistake. When Blue started heading down, see, the Blue colonies were about the same range, actually, but there were some in here, and they were able to start collapsing. Blue just never built the ships they needed to. So Red's strategy of fight a winning war against the guy near me works pretty well, and it would work even better in the base game, where all you have to do is knock somebody out, as opposed to, you know, building up and trying to defeat every person on the board, which is what I set the victory conditions for this one. An option in the game, of course. Alright, I'll come back with a review of this guy, and this is what's going up.